I am very grateful to each of you for being here today. The Flower Festival, I think we began around 1988, and we always had it on the full moon day of this month. And then as it became more popular, we changed it to the last Saturday of the month. But today, without any awareness of these astrological matters, today is the full moon. The Flower Festival began with just a few devotees from our community. And it was just an opportunity to actually form a community centered in service and pleasure to Krishna, to Radha Gopinath. When we make an offering to Radha Gopinath, to God, they reciprocate. Ye yatamam prapadyante tams tataiva bhajamyam. As we surrender, Krishna reciprocates. And what really does it mean to surrender? In one sense, we can define it as putting what pleases Krishna through our thoughts, our words, and our actions above everything else. Knowing with faith that what pleases Krishna is essentially what's best for everyone. Srila Prabhupada cited from the Srimad Bhagavatam many times. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cited the same verse, that when we place water on the root of a tree, it extends to every part of the tree. The branches, the leaves, the flowers. And similarly, when we put food in the stomach, the nutrition of that food extends to every cell of the body. So similarly, Krishna is the root of all existence. Brahma Samhita begins, Janmadyasya yada. What is the definition of God, or the absolute truth? From whom everything emanates. Aham bija pradapita. Krishna declares in Gita, I am the seed-giving father and the mother of everyone. Not only all varieties of humanity, but all species of life. Wherever there's life, there's a part of Krishna. And the origin is Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Krishna tells, I am the source of all material and all spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. Everyone emanates from me. And Gita also tells, Suhritam sarva bhutana. A perfect mother or father in this world unconditionally loves their child. It's natural. To not have that love is due to being covered by many conditional, unnatural situations in our consciousness. But Krishna is the origin of everything. Krishna is infinite, everlasting, inconceivable love for every living entity is the absolute truth. We may think of the absolute truth in terms of just an enormous, infinite existence. But in the path of bhakti, a deeper understanding of absolute truth is the inconceivable quality and quantity of Krishna's love and compassion as everyone's dearmost friend. Sudridam sarvabhutana. Krishna is such a friend. Wherever we go, whatever we do not do, he still remains as the Paramatma within our heart. Just waiting for the opportunity for us to receive Ananda, supreme eternal happiness. So Krishna is the well-wishing friend of everyone. And in this light, what pleases Krishna is what's actually best for everyone and everything. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuja. Abandon all varieties of dharma. All the Vedic literatures, all the scriptures in the world, all the saints throughout history are trying to somehow or other convince people to follow the principles of dharma. And after Krishna speaks 17 and almost the full 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita describing the principles of dharma, he's concluding, abandon all varieties of dharma. And just take shelter of me. To surrender means to take shelter. Sharanagati. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. From this life, from all previous lives. It's Krishna's promise. Yeah, when the absolute truth makes a promise, it's not like us. We could make a promise, but circumstances might go beyond us. But Maya Dyakshena Prakriti, Krishna's Ishvara Parama. He's the supreme controller of all controllers. The material nature is working under his direction. Krishna's promise is infallible. So to please Krishna is actually, and when we're really pleasing Krishna, not just our ego's conception of what pleases Krishna, or our interpretation, or even spiritual paths or religions that profess to be the greatest of the great. Sometimes adharma, irreligion, is practiced in the name of your religion, and vice versa. Krishna warns us of this. But to actually please Krishna is the greatest compassion for all beings. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was Krishna, with the Mahabhava of Sri Radha, he's telling us what pleases him most. To show compassion to the people of this world. In the spiritual world, there's no need for compassion because everyone's liberated. There's no such thing as suffering. There's only ananda, ecstatic, loving relationships of rasa. But yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata. Why does Krishna leave a world like that with such loving associates who have nothing except to inspire one another to be supremely happy with Krishna? Why come to a world where there's so much arrogance and envy, greed, selfish lust, so many illusions? Because Krishna cares about every living being. He will not take away our independence, but he's inviting us to use our free will to serve him and to please him and to experience his infinite love and to share that love. So Krishna's mission in this world is compassion. And the greatest word to serve him is to be an instrument of that compassion. Yesterday we had the 27th birthday of Bhaktivedanta Hospital. And it was really a wonderful event. And I'm so grateful to all the devotees of Bhaktivedanta Hospital, and especially those who, from the very conception and beginning, have remained faithful, dedicated, and made so many sacrifices. It's quite a successful project now. But actually, the more you're successful, the more challenges come. And when you're not successful, more challenges come. So greatness is responding to challenges with the integrity of pleasing Krishna. In Bhaktivedanta Hospital, pleasing Srila Prabhupada's will. And I was thinking, the success of Bhaktivedanta Hospital is not just an institution. It's a family. It's a community. A community beyond the professionalism that they're striving for, beyond the profits and losses that they're trying to survive and prosper in. The devotees, despite their differences, have remained together and are striving together to serve humanity, the body, minds, and souls, as a community. A community centered in Sri Sri Radha Gopinath. When I was walking around yesterday in hospital, they were showing me some new places. Everywhere I go, there were photographs of Radha Gopinath. And actually, there's so many temples in the world. And there are many photos of other deities too. But so prominent is Radha Gopinath because, from this this building was built sometime in the 1890s. It was an orphanage. And then later on, I guess for financial reasons, it became Tinkerbell High School. When I first came here, I was wondering what Tinkerbell had to do with Vedic culture. And there was Bola's classes, and there was my own coaching classes, and there was an Ayurvedic pharmacy, and there was Camel brand hosiery, where they had little machines that made stockings. And just Tinkerbell itself, at a time, there was always about 2,000 students in this building. And this whole temple hall was classrooms. And we had one little room downstairs, just very small. And we shared it. There was about 5 or 6 brahmacharis and probably 56 rats. And they weighed almost as much as the brahmacharis. In fact, when we go to sleep, they sometimes eat us. And we were thinking, that little temple of Lakshmi Narayan, that's where we did our worship. That was there from, I think, the beginning of this building. And we were thinking of making a shed around that so we can, in the monsoons, we could have Mangalartis and everything there. And that was our whole vision. And then somehow or other we got the idea, why don't we come up here before Tinkerbell starts the classes? Because we get up at 3:30 in the morning, and they don't start till 7:30, so we have 4 hours. And we'd move all the desks and chairs. There was hundreds of desks in here. It was partitioned with these little classroom. And I don't think there was any restoration or maintenance since the 19th century. And as far as I know, when we first came here, it was so dilapidated, I don't think anyone ever bothered to take a photo here. Now I wish they did, so we could show people before and after. And then gradually, Tinkerbell moved downstairs. They had downstairs, but a loft was made, and the Iyengar Yoga Studio was on the other side of this room. It was their headquarters in Mumbai. Before Tinkerbell started, they were doing yoga classes, and we were doing japa and kirtan at different sides of the room. And then somehow or other, when Gopinath gave us access to this whole hall, the deities came, Shri Radha Gopinath, and we started Flower Festival. And the idea is, when you make an offering to Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure, because that's what surrender means. Just offering whatever we have, whatever intelligence, whatever abilities, whatever influences, whatever resources of any sort, we offer it to Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially established this Sankirtan movement. We can please Krishna only by our devotion. Krishna really doesn't want anything else. He doesn't need our money or our intellect or our skills, because he's giving them all to us anyway. But Krishna's opulence of renunciation is Krishna humbles himself before the devotion of a devotee. I'm just thinking, in the spiritual world of Vrindavan, it's the forest of Brinda Devi. Brinda Devi is a direct expansion of Srimati Radharani, of Krishna's pleasure potency. And she comes to this world, and there's so many beautiful trees and wonderful, extraordinary flowers with such incredible, strong fragrances, and so many multicolors. Tulsi, it's just a simple little green leaf. You know, she could be like the most exotic blue lotus flower. But she comes as a little green leaf. And green leaves are not rare. She's taking the most ordinary, simplest form. And yet, if that single leaf is offered with devotion, Krishna is conquered by that. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhakta priyachtati. Even a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water offered with devotion, Krishna accepts. There is that story where Narada Muni was going to take Krishna away from Dwarka for some journey, and the queens of Dwarka were begging, no, no. And an arrangement was made that Krishna will sit on one side of scale. And the queens could offer their most precious diamonds, rubies, sapphires, emeralds, gold, silver, pearls. And whatever the weight was that was equal to Krishna, Narada would take that and leave Krishna. They put so much of the most precious jewelry in the world on that scale. But Krishna was always, they couldn't even move Krishna even an inch upward. And it was bewildering. There may have been hundreds or thousands of pounds of the most precious diamonds and rubies, and yet Krishna's just sitting there. They realized that there is no treasure in this world that can equal Krishna, especially to Narada Muni. So then Rukmini, she said, take away all the jewels. They took away all the jewels. And with love and devotion, she put one tulsi leaf. And whoop, Krishna flew into the air. Krishna's heavier than the heaviest and lighter than the lightest. But in this story, he's showing what is value. Premadan. What is a real treasure? It's not what we have or who we are. It's the sincerity of the devotion we offer. And throughout all the great avatars of the Lord, you know, Hanuman was living in a cave. He didn't have a palace. And it's not that Hanuman was a great athlete. I I never read about him working out or anything like that. He just had such a will to please Ram that Ram empowered him to do whatever he wanted to do to please him. He didn't train up to jump over oceans. I just have to reach Sita and give Ram's message to Sita. To please Ram was his strength. And when that little squirrel was trying to help out with all his strength, or her strength, I don't remember which one, Ram told Hanuman, the squirrel's doing as much as you. You're lifting mountains, the squirrel is just jumping in the water, then rolling in the sand, and then shaking himself, like squirrels shake themselves. And the little grains of sand would go and help build the mountain. It's our bhakti, it's our devotion. That's the water that satisfies the root of the tree. And when Krishna accepts something, it becomes infused with his grace, with his mercy. And it becomes prasad. Prasad means the grace of the Lord. When we offer food with devotion, when we offer a garland with devotion, anything that we offer with devotion, when Krishna accepts the intent and the sincerity in which it's offered, it becomes infused with his love, with his mercy, with his compassion. Om apavitro pavitro va sarvavastam gatovima. Krishna's all pure. And when Krishna accepts something, it becomes purified. And it becomes purified with his divine energy. And therefore, when we receive it, we become purified with that divine energy. So what is the flower festival? We're offering flowers, petals, and then after it's offering to Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure, we're sharing his mercy with each other. It's symbolic of a spiritual community. It's giving a particular festive form to a very social, cultural, philosophical principle of putting Krishna, sharing Krishna with each other. That's community. And Srila Prabhupada, when he established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, he gave this word society. And many of us, when we joined this movement, we were antisocial. So why in the world do we want to be part of a society? Because it has such a meaningful, pure purpose. And Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan, we chant the holy names to infuse ourselves with the purity of Krishna's mercy. The chanting of the holy names awakens the potential of the eternal loving soul. But then we share that love. We share that mercy. According to our particular nature and capacity. Bhaktivedanta Hospital, somehow or other, these devotees maintained this community, this family, where they were together in the service of Sri Guru and Gauranga. And there were times when it was attacked, when it was literally closed down for about a year. so much fear, so much aggression. But yet, even in apparently hopeless conditions, they remained united to serve. And now there's so much prosperity. But along with it, as we said, so many anxieties, just different varieties. Our strength is we're centered in Krishna with each other. There's one very famous letter where Srila Prabhupada described, united we stand and divided we fall. He quoted that, and he gave that fable, or whatever it was, where when you put sticks together, you can't break it. But you take any stick out, it breaks. So in the Sankirtan movement, our unity very much is our strength. When Srila Prabhupada was, hundreds of times he would cite this. When he first came to New York in 1965 and 1966, he would walk down First Avenue and he would see the United Nations. And as the days were going by, he'd see more flags. And he'd say, this United Nations, is it really united? The only real unity there is on the spiritual platform. As long as the false ego is there, Janasya moho yamaham, I am this body, and those things in relation to the body are mine, then there's going to be conflict. Jivera swarupoi krishnara nityadas. But I'm part and parcel of Krishna. I'm Krishna's tatashta shakti. I'm a little part of Krishna's energy. And the nature of that energy, the nature of the soul, is we're eternally servants of Krishna. To love means to serve, and in bhakti, to serve means to love. So when we started this little flower festival here, everyone was just so happy. It's really incredible. Today, Shruti Kirti Prabhu gave a magnificent, heartfelt class and just went on and on. His memories are like waves of an ocean. Not a salty ocean, but a sweet ocean. And the lessons that he was learning from Srila Prabhupada and the love that was being invested in his heart in those lessons, in those experiences. And I do believe that whatever Srila Prabhupada gave you, he actually invested in you to share with the whole world. And that's what you're doing. Thank you. But while he was speaking, there were hundreds of devotees and guests and everybody plucking flowers. Some were plucking marigolds, and some were plucking roses, and I don't know all the names of the flowers. Anyone can pluck a flower. There were little tiny children. There were babies plucking flowers. And there were people in their 80s, maybe 90s, plucking the same flower. And when a baby puts the petal in the basket, or when a very old man or lady put it, is there a difference? I saw CEOs of international corporations who are multimillionaires plucking flowers. And I saw simple people who were drivers or village sweepers plucking flowers. I saw PhDs, and I saw people who can't write their name plucking flowers. I saw people from Brahmin families, and even an outcast like me, I was plucking flowers. All castes, all nationalities, all social backgrounds. And they're going into a basket to offer to Krishna and Sri Radharani. Now, whenever I fulfill your wish and end my talk, then you'll see the flower festival. But I don't believe you will recognize any petal that you plucked. You will not think, I plucked that petal. Because there's going to be probably millions of petals. How many kilos?
1 ton, 1,200. 1,200 kilos, 1.2 tons.
1.2 tons of flowers.
1,200 kilos.
1,200 kilos.
1,200 kilos of flowers.
I'm not so good at mathematics. 1,200 kilos of flowers. So how many petals is that? See, well, we're trying to estimate Krishna. Even a PhD in mathematics doesn't know any more than somebody who never passed in mathematics. This is Gaudiya math. But as they're showering down on Krishna, it's not I, it's not me, it's us and we. The beauty of the offering is that everybody, whatever our qualification or disqualification by any material consideration, whatever's offered with devotion, we're plucking those flowers so that we could be part of something bigger than ourselves. In the material world, the false ego is about I and me and mine. But actually, spiritual means what we're doing, what we're saying, what we're aspiring for is bigger than me. Krishna's Vibhu is infinite. And we are Anu. We're not trying to be God. We're trying to please God. We're trying to love God. And when by Krishna's grace, we're in reciprocation to our sincerity, we don't have to try to love God anymore. That love is the only reality. Param dristvani vartate, it's the higher taste. So the flower festival was so joyous and so happy. And at the same time, it's very colorful. And because it's about community, a bhakti-based community. It's not about I and me. it becomes joyful. We try to cling to the misconception, I'll be happy when I am happy. But when we let go of that, we can experience real happiness. Because we go beyond this temporary body and mind and all the ego's insecurities. So it became such a joyous festival. It went from maybe 25 people. It got bigger and bigger. And then Jananivas came, Jananivas Prabhu. At a certain time, we invited him to be the head pujari of Radha Gopinath. And he agreed. And he still is. For about 30 years, Jananivas Prabhu has been the head pujari of Radha Gopinath. And he personally came there and installed Lalita and Vishaka and so many of the deities, and he established the standards. But whatever standards they are, bhakti is, the standard is a form, but the spirit of devotion and humility and sincerity and sharanagati that is expressed through the standards. Jananivas Prabhu gave us that. He exemplified that. And gradually, he started doing these flower festivals in Mayapur. And then it's kind of spread, and then and soon there were thousands of people coming. And then Govardhan Eco Village started. And soon all these international people were coming. And when the international people came, then we had to kind of protect them from the enthusiasm of the devotees. So it's almost like the flower festival was taken hostage by foreign invaders. I hope this isn't on social media. So we decided our community, we should have 2 flower festivals. And we did last year. But the devotees who were here from the earlier days, it was real nice when we were showering on the deities, but when we started sharing that Mahaprasad, the youth invaded. And I didn't see, except Rohini Nandan Prabhu, I didn't see a single elderly devotee. And elderly, I mean, those who were here from those earlier years. Everybody evacuated. And I was thinking why they all left. And then I noticed that even I left. So this arrangement that we have today is very exclusive, but it's inclusive. In the sense that the devotees who've given their lives and souls for so many years within our community, that they could actually, they could be relatively safe and survive the flower festival. I remember one time we had Holi in the temple. And I was describing what a beautiful, graceful festival it is in Barsana, in Vrindavan, where we offer all these beautiful colors to Radha Gopinath, and then we take their Mahaprasad and we just sprinkle and say, Hare Krishna. And within a matter of minutes, it transformed from the gopis and gopas playing in Vrindavan to the Battle of Kurukshetra. It was all out war. And except for Rohinanand Prabhu, nobody survived. If you were over 30 years old. Even I didn't survive. And it took us several weeks to clean the temple. But I'm seeing among you such a blessing of Srila Prabhupada that all of us have received. Because almost all the parents that are here, they've brought their families. And because everyone here is from those earlier days, I'm saying that most all of your children who are assembled are older than you when you first started coming to the flower festival. I can give so many examples. I remember once Krishna Chandra Prabhu with Radha Priya Devi. In the earlier days, when the temple was not that many people, even on Sundays, and there was a kirtan, and devotees, everyone was pretty young, were spinning like this, dancing together in the middle of the kirtan. And Krishna Chandra Prabhu and the person he hired as his driver, Jainitai Prabhu, they were blissfully dancing together. And actually, I saw devotees weeping and crying. They had never seen anything like this in India. Loving brothership between the CEO of an international corporation and his hired driver. But when they're in the presence of Radha Gopinath, they're nothing but brothers. I saw brahmacharis bowing down, thinking this is renunciation. Whatever we're doing, this is something wonderful, because it was really genuine from the heart. This gathering today is in honor of all of you who have been 20, 30 or more years as such wonderful, wonderful servants of one another in this community. And it's that communal efforts of family. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed, Gopi Bharatur Padakamala Yoratasa Dasanutas. I'm not a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. I'm not a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. I'm not of this nationality or that nationality, of this religious background or that religious background or anything like that. We are all seeing each other as the beloved children of Radha Gopinath, of the Lord. And in our strengths, we're trying to give strength to others. And in our weakness, we're receiving so much strength from others. That's community. So we are actually celebrating all of you. We're celebrating for the pleasure of Krishna, but in Radha Gopinath's hearts, the celebration is to see all of us happy with each other in Krishna consciousness. That's the real festival. Giving this offering. And I don't know what's going to happen after I end this lecture. I'm hoping you remain safe. And I'm hoping you're happy to remain till the very end. But please let us focus our own aspirations to being happy, seeing Krishna happy. And although it's a very simple thing, it's so deeply philosophical. Yogi namapi sarvesham. It's the highest revelation of yoga, to selflessly be giving oneself in loving service to Krishna, to God. Mumbai is also called Bollywood because of the cinema, film industry. And how many people go to cinemas? I'm not going to ask you if you go or not. But probably millions every day. And how many watch televisions? And how many are watching so many things on your computers and all of that? But what is here today is all of us together as a family, as a community. We're all just sitting here in rapt attention, watching Radha Gopinath being showered with flowers. Our joy, our festival is seeing them being glorified, seeing them feeling happiness. And when we selflessly join hearts to appreciate Krishna and Radharani being happy, then we're actually a spiritual community. We transcend the ego. This is actually a very, very deep, profound meditation. We're just giving our body, our mind, our senses, our heart, our consciousness together. Samsadhir Haritoshanam. To give wonderful pleasure, not just by the flowers, but by the singing. We're chanting Krishna's holy names and Radharani's holy names. Everything is going for Krishna. And to the degree everything goes for Krishna, and we empty ourselves of selfish ego, we become completely filled with spiritual happiness, spiritual joy, the joy of the soul that is beyond the earthquakes and the fires and the cold and the heat and the wars of this world. And that is the gift, the treasure we have been entrusted to share with each other and with the world. And for that, we are eternally indebted to our Srila Prabhupada. And we are forever indebted to each and every one of you for receiving His divine grace. Thank you very much. I want to thank, before this, Baladev Prabhu gave a report about our big book distribution marathon, and it's actually the same principle. How could we do, for us it's a lot. For other temples it's not much, but for us it's a lot. Because of that joint spirit inspired by His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and in his loving service to Srila Prabhupada. So I thank you, all of you. And I pray that Shri Radha Gopinath and Srila Prabhupada's mercy and blessings and grace shower upon all of you and families. And all children who are mostly adults now. Most of these children are older than when I took sannyas. But we all got to see them born and everything. We got to see their parents get married. And thank you. Thank all of you for so graciously receiving this gift that your parents have given their lives to share with you. A gift that is the greatest need of the world.